Our speaker today is trained at the FBI Academy and U.S. State's Department in Human Potential and Behavioral Communication. She is the founder of See Your Possibilities, a coaching and consulting firm focusing on high performance. She has traveled the world disarming hot buttons both as a warrior and as a mom, helping us navigate through challenges, and choices today. Please join me in welcoming from North Richland Hills, Texas, Kelley Moore.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Bruno. Picture this. It's June 21st, 1988. It's 2:30 in the morning. At this point, you've been traveling since noon the day before, and just like the movies, planes, trains, and automobiles, you've been on them all. And now you find yourself on a bus. And this isn't one of those little yellow school buses, y'all. This is one of those big double-decker jobs. It's the biggest bus you've ever seen, much less been on in your short 17 years of life. So you ain't scared, right? I mean, you're 17. You got something to prove to yourself and to the whole world. That bus glides to a stop and those air brakes release. Psh! Suddenly there's a silence. There's a silence so profound you can actually feel it. And there's a darkness. There's no moon, there's no stars, there's no light on that bus. You can barely see your hand right in front of your face. As that silence gets louder and longer, you realize the only sound that you can hear is the sound of your own heartbeat. And right about the time the voices in your head start to say, maybe I am just, but get off my bus, get off my stinking bus, do it now, move. That was my arrival at Marine Corps boot camp. Ripe old age of 17. Y'all, what the heck had my mouth gotten me into this time? I had absolutely no idea if I had the heart of a leader. I had no idea if I had the heart of a warrior. In fact, truth. Because all progress begins by telling the truth. And the truth is, up until that moment in my life, if anything had gotten too hard, I mean, if I had to put forth a lot of effort mentally or physically, and I wasn't positive up here in my head trash that I would win, I'd rather mouth off. Because y'all, I could spin that for comedy on the social scene. Yeah, that's right. I'm that customer, I'm that vendor, I'm that coworker, I'm that family member. So welcome to my madness for the next hour, y'all. You have no idea where this is going, just as much as I do. We all have a lot of voices in our head, a lot of things that we think about, right? These overwhelming workloads, manager skills, employee turnover, the panini, pandemic, whatever it is, all these unprecedented times that we have found ourselves in recently. There's a whole bunch going on up in here. Most of us feel stuck. What do we do? What's changed? It's always changing. What now? What about all the labels that are out there? Them millennials, those boomers, the Gen Zs, ain't nobody wanting to work, right? All of these things that are running through our minds. Some of you may be feeling exactly the same way I was feeling in that moment. Most of us just don't want to admit it to ourselves. And the truth is, I felt stuck in that moment. What the heck had I put myself into this time? What the heck have we collectively, right? That solidarity that Lance is talking about, that we collectively have created for ourselves now. What do you mean created? We're just all victims of it. Where do we go from here? Some of you may be feeling exactly the same way I felt in that moment. The gift I had in that moment, y'all, is that dude was really big and he was really loud. So for a minute, I quit thinking and I simply took a step. So with that said, can everybody hear me okay? I mean, we can turn it up if we want. Like, this is all mic. We can take it off, we can just talk. This is our moment. In spite of all of these, you're not stuck, you're just not moving. So welcome to the journey that got each and every one of you here from long distances, 15, 17 hours. Some of us were right in your backyard. The fact is you're here now, so take the step. The voices in my head, some of them were me. Some of them are you. Now, the voices in my head in that moment were saying, hey, mouth off, say something funny, lighten the mood. I am really glad I didn't listen to that voice. The other voices in my head, one of them was the people in our lives, the ones that are supposed to love us and encourage us and believe in us. Well, I am from Texas originally, in case y'all haven't heard that or can't figure that out yet. And when my daddy heard what I was doing, he used my full name. I mean, that's when you know you're in trouble, right? He looked at me and he said, Kelley Jean, you do realize they're going to tell you what to do and you have to do it. I looked at him with all of my 17-year-old wisdom and I said, Daddy, don't you know if I have a better way, they're going to want to hear it. Y'all must have been there. That was pretty much the same reaction. He said, oh, this is going to be good. We're going to visit you in prison. In that moment, all I had was the ability to take a step. Take the step. It got you here. And the truth is, if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. And if you are determined to learn, then no one can stop you. And that is the truth of this organization. You're taking a look at what got us here, and that's some really good juju. But what got us here might not get us where we want to go. I didn't know if I had the heart of a leader. I didn't know if I had the heart of a warrior. What I did know is I needed to be open to learning. And in order to do that, I had to realize that William Booth had it right. He said, the greatness of a man's power is the measure of his surrender. Lance introduced us this morning to a concept called Ubuntu. It's a fabulous concept. And it's that idea of solidarity. And within that solidarity, while we're attempting to survive, because that's what each one of us does, here's the thing. My first job in the Marine Corps, I went to work on F-18s. Y'all, those are jets. For those of you that don't know, it's the jet. I worked on the infamous black box of F-18s. It's like the brain of the aircraft, if you will. Well, when I was stationed all over the place. I traveled the world, had some amazing adventures, all kinds of places. After a while, I had a few years left. I came back. I said, is there any way that I can just stay in the States for just a minute? I still had a few years left, so I went to the Marine Corps and I said, I'd like to change jobs. I'd like to learn something new. I'd like to step out of my comfort zone and learn something new. So the next thing you know, I found myself at Quantico, where I trained at the FBI Academy in the State Department in human behavior and profiling. So I joked that I went from electronic brains to human brains. Fact is, we got a lot in common and a lot not. And here's what we do have in common. Whether we are male or female, whether we are young or old, regardless of our culture or background, I want to see if we have a little bit of solidarity in here. Does everyone identify with the label of human? Are you sure? All right, because it'd be really cool if you're not. We really want. I mean, I hear they're real now, right? So if you're not, let's talk. All right, humans. Here's how this stuff works, y'all. Male, female, young, old, culture, background, doesn't matter. If you are human and have a human brain, this is how the human brain functions. You see something, you hear something. Information comes in through one of your 5 senses. And the first place it goes is that first S you were talking about, Lance, survival. What the heck is this? And is it threat? Is it friend or foe? And most of us are looking for the threats. And there's pretty much a threat in everything. I mean, come on. Don't blessings have curses? All right, how many of y'all can hand you $1 million right now? And some of you start thinking, oh man, my family going to come out the woodwork, be asking me for this, be asking me for that. And you go right to the threat, right? You go right to the curse of that blessing. I tell you what, I will take your portion. Right? I call them blurses. Welcome to Kelleyisms, blurses. Life is full of them. And as humans, information comes in through one of our 5 senses, goes to that survival, and in groups we find the solidarity and the compassion when we surrender and we recognize that our power And power simply means, we got a weird relationship with that word power too. We don't want to be powerful. Hey, power only means the ability to act. That's it. The ability to act. So when we drop out of our heads and down into our hearts and surrender, we have the ability to act. I want to take a minute right now. I want to introduce you to your brain a little bit more, how that brain actually works and functions in humans. So I got a little video here. And I want you to pay attention. I want you to play along. I mean, what do you got to lose? You're here. You may as well get something out of this, right? So play along.
Do you think it's possible to control someone's attention? Even more than that, what about predicting human behavior? I think those are interesting ideas if you could. I mean, for me, that'd be the perfect superpower. Actually, kind of an evil way of approaching it. But for myself, in the past, I've spent the last 20 years studying human behavior from a rather unorthodox way, picking pockets. When we think of misdirection, we think of something as looking off to the side when actually it's often the things that are right in front of us that are hardest things to see, the things that you look at every day that you're blinded to. For example, how many of you still have your cell phones on you right now? Great. Double check, make sure you still have them on you. I was doing some shopping beforehand. Now, you've looked at them probably a few times today, but I'm going to ask you a question about them. Without looking at your cell phone directly yet, can you remember the icon in the bottom right corner? Bring them out, check, and see how accurate you were. How'd you do? Show of hands, did we get it? Now that you're done looking at those, close them down, because every phone has something in common. No matter how you organize the icons, you still have a clock on the front. So without looking at your phone, what time was it? You just looked at your clock, right? It's an interesting idea. Now I'll ask you to take that a step further with a game of trust. Close your eyes. I realize I'm asking you to do that while you just heard there's a pickpocket in the room, but close your eyes. Now, you've been watching me for about 30 seconds. With your eyes closed, what am I wearing? Make your best guess. What color is my shirt? What color is my tie? Now open your eyes. By show of hands, were you right? It's interesting, isn't it? Some of us are a little bit more perceptive than others. It seems that way. But I have a different theory about that model of attention. They have fancy models of attention, Posner's trendy model of attention. For me, I like to think of it very simple, like a surveillance system. It's kind of like you have all these fancy sensories, and inside your brain is a little security guard. For me, I like to call him Frank. So Frank is sitting at a desk. He's got all sorts of cool information in front of him, high-tech equipment. He's got cameras. He's got a little phone that he can pick up, listen to the ears, all these senses, all these perceptions. But attention is what steers your perceptions, is what controls your reality. It's the gateway to the mind. If you don't attend to something, you can't be aware of it. But ironically, you can attend to something without being aware of it. That's why there's the cocktail effect. When you're in a party, you're having conversations with someone, and yet you can recognize your name, and you didn't even realize you were listening to that. Now, for my job, I have to play with techniques to exploit this, to play with your attention as a limited resource. So if I could control how you spend your attention, if I could maybe steal your attention through a distraction. Now, instead of doing it like misdirection and throwing off to the side, instead what I choose to focus on is Frank. To be able to play with the Frank inside your head, your little security guard, and get you, instead of focusing on your external senses, just to go internal for a second. So if I ask you to access a memory, like, what is that? What just happened? Do you have a wallet? Do you have an American Express in your wallet? And when I do that, your Frank turns around. He accesses the file. He has to rewind the tape. And what's interesting is he can't rewind the tape at the same time that he's trying to process new data. Now, I mean, this sounds like a good theory, but I could talk for a long time and tell you lots of things, and they may be true, a portion of them. But I think it's better if I try to show that to you here live. So if I come down, I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. Just hold still where you are. Hello, how are you? It's lovely to see you. You did a wonderful job on stage. You have a lovely watch that doesn't come off very well. Do you have your ring as well? Good, just taking inventory. You're like a buffet. It's hard to tell where to start. There's so many great things. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, sir, could you stand up for me, please? Just right where you are. Oh, you're married. You follow the directions well. That's nice to meet you, sir. You don't have a whole lot inside your pockets. Anything down by the pocket over here? Hopefully so. Have a seat. There you go. You're doing well. Hi, sir. How are you? Good to see you, sir. You have a ring, a watch. Do you have a wallet on you? I don't. Well, we'll find one for you. Come on up this way, Joe. Give Joe a round of applause. Come on up, Joe. Let's play a game. Pardon me. Don't think that you need this clicker anymore. You can have that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Come on up to the stage, Joe. Let's play a little game. Now, do you have anything in your front pockets? Money. All right, let's try that. Can you stand right over this way for me? Turn around and let's see. If I give you something that belongs to me, this is just something, a half poker chip. Hold out your hand for me. Watch it kind of close. Now, this is a task for you to focus on. Now, you have your money in your front pocket here? Yep. Good. I'm not going to actually put my hand in your pocket. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. One time a guy had a hole in his pocket, and that was rather traumatizing. I was looking for his wallet, and he gave me his phone number. It was a big miscommunication. So let's do this simply. Squeeze your hand. Squeeze it tight. Do you feel the poker chip in your hand? I do. Would you be surprised if I could take it out of your hand? Say yes? Very. Good. Open your hand. Thank you very much. I'll cheat if you give me a chance. Make it harder for me. Just use your hand. Grab my wrist, but squeeze. Squeeze firm. Did you see it go? No. No, it's not here. Open your hand. See, while we're focused on the hand, it's sitting on your shoulder right now. Go ahead and take it off. Now, let's try that again. Hold your hand out flat. Open it up all the way. Put your hand up a little bit higher, but watch it close there, Joe. See, if I did it slowly, it'd be back on your shoulder. Joe, we're going to keep doing this till you catch it. You're going to get it eventually. I have faith in you. Squeeze firm. Squeeze. You're human. You're not slow. It's back on your shoulder. You were focused on your hand. That's why you were distracted. While you were watching this, I couldn't quite get your watch off. It was difficult. Yet you had something inside your front pocket. Do you remember what it was?
Money.
Check your pocket. See if it's still there. Is it still there? Oh, that's where it was. Go ahead and put it away. We're just shopping. This trick's more about the timing, really. I'm going to try to push it inside your hand. Put your other hand on top for me, would you? It's amazingly obvious now, isn't it? It looks a lot like the watch I was wearing, doesn't it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, thanks. But it's only a start. Let's try it again a little bit differently. Hold your hands together. Put your other hand on top. Now, if you're watching this little token, this obviously has become a little target. It's like a red herring. If we watch this kind of close, it looks like it goes away. It's not back on your shoulder. It falls out of the air, lands right back in the hand. Did you see it go? It's funny. You got a little guy, he's union. He works up there all day. If I did it slowly, if it goes straight away, it lands down by your pocket. I believe, is it in this pocket, sir? No, don't reach in your pocket. That's a different show. Sorry, that's rather strange. They have shots for that. Can I show them what that is? That's rather bizarre. Is this yours, sir? Yes. I have no idea how that works. We'll just send that over there. That's great. I need help with this one. Step over this way for me. Now, don't run away. You had something down by your pants pocket. I was checking mine. I couldn't find everything. But I noticed you had something here. Feel the outside of your pocket for a moment. Down here, I noticed this. Is this something of yours, sir? Is this? I had no idea. That's a shrimp.
Yeah, saving it for later.
You've entertained all these people in a wonderful way. Better than you know. So we'd love to give you this lovely watch as a gift. Hopefully it matches his taste. But also we have a couple of other things. A little bit of cash. And then we have a few other things. These all belong to you, along with a big round of applause from all your friends. Joe, thank you very much. So, same question I asked you before, but this time you don't have to close your eyes. What am I wearing? Attention is a powerful thing. Like I said, it shapes your reality. So I guess I'd like to pose that question to you. If you could control somebody's attention, what would you do with it? Thank you.
Anybody notice him changing clothes? Yeah, a few of us, right? Some of us caught it right away. We're like, whoa, hang on, something changed. Some of us are like, whoa, how'd he do that? So imagine controlling somebody else's attention, much less our own. Right? It's a response versus a reaction. And this all happens. Information comes in through one of your five senses. You see something, you hear something. The very first place it goes is Frank. Frank is at survival. We all have it. It's where our beliefs live. Welcome to your BOS, folks. BOS stands for Belief Operating System. And beliefs are never neutral. Your beliefs are either moving us forward or they are holding us back. Our beliefs as humans are never neutral. And our beliefs are as simple as what we believe a word means. It's as simple as that. Let me give you an example real quick. By a show of hands. By a show of hands. So this is a question. This is interactive. By a show of hands, how many of us here today have a positive definition for the word confrontation? Okay, it's interactive. That was a question. All right, it took you a minute, right? You had to think about it. You're like, yeah, I kind of get up every morning looking for that. Yeah, all right. Most of us are like, no. Let me ask you this. Let's play word association. I'm going to say a word. You probably have a hint what the word's going to be, so I'm giving you a little preview here. You actually have a little head start because your thinking brain's kicking in, so you can give a response. I want your reaction. I want you to challenge yourself. Just give your reaction. I want you to just blurt out the very first word that comes to mind when you hear this word. Just blah. So I should hear 100 voices in harmony here in a minute. All right? When I say the word confrontation, what's the first word you think of? Confrontation. Flirting? I've never heard that before. That's fabulous. Good grief. That's some good stuff right there. Right? I'm used to an F word coming out. Not that one. You're juicy, friend. Let's talk. Right? Wow. The rest of you, the other F word I heard was fight. That's what most of us think, right? I told you I'm from South Texas, born and raised. Confrontation down there, we got slang for it. Like, we don't even use the word most of the time. We say, yo, we gonna butt heads. Right? That's what most of us think it is. Most of us think it's an opportunity to butt heads. You got your thoughts and opinions, they got theirs, and we gonna duke it out. Let's go to the word. The word actually gives us some context clues. Con. Con is a prefix. It's based in Latin, Melissa, right? It's based in Latin. Con. Anybody know? Where are my Spanish speakers here? What is con? What does con mean? With, yeah, con amor, with love, right? Arroz con pollo, right? That's good food, right? It means with. Front is the root word. Front is the root word of this word. And front in this context means faces. It means faces. So far we got with, faces, and then the A is just there for rhythm because English is a really weird language. And your tongue needs a little rhythm to be able to speak it. The T-I-O-N is what is known as a suffix in English. T-I-O-N in this context means acting together. So let's put that word together. All right, when I was growing up, we had this show called Electric Company. And you had two people, and somebody would go, oh. And then the other person would, oh. And the words would come together and slam together, right? So that was teaching us how to read and how to speak. So confrontation with faces acting together, right? The Beatles wrote a whole song about it. We got to come together right now and figure this out. It doesn't mean butting heads. We're going to flirt with it a little bit and just see where it leads us. All right, we got to be willing to learn. Response versus reaction. It's all about taking a minute, finding that solidarity and compassion. Because when heads collide, y'all, hearts connect. Hearts connect. And in order to be a courageous communicator, courage is not the absence of fear. You're supposed to feel freaked out about this stuff. That's humanness. So let's find the respect. Re means again, inspect means to see. Let's take another look at each other and find the dignity. It's the entire philosophy of Ubuntu. What a great place to start as we grow this organization to the next level. What got us here, and that was some good stuff, y'all. There's some things that we need to do a little bit different to get where we want to go. Be solution-oriented. Find that dignity and respect, and with compassion, come together. Because you can choose your responses. Here's another thing I learned at the FBI Academy. The body cannot lie. The body cannot lie. Y'all, lies only happen in the brain, where you start thinking about stuff and making up stories. You know, that assuming. All right, when I left the Marine Corps, I had a dream. All right, I had a plan. You know, like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit. Right? Life happened. There are the dreams that we have. And then there are the dreams that life has for us. And when we can surrender and be willing to learn and let those two things collide, that is where the magic happens. I predict, and I could be wrong. I am wrong quite a lot. I've learned to be all right with that, to embrace it. Most of us don't like that very much. It's not a great feeling. Here's the thing. I suspect that most of us in this room did not grow up in your childhood bedroom with the logo of the organization where you are right now painted up on your wall, going, oh yeah, someday that's going to be me. And yet you found yourself here. All the steps you took got you here where you are now. And that was a series of choices. The body cannot lie. Lies only happen in the brain. And when you use words on purpose with purpose and understand what the words mean, response versus reaction. Y'all have heard this before. This is not rocket science. It is a little bit of brain science. And once you slow down long enough to catch up to it, it starts to make some sense. Because guess what? Welcome to the game. Head games. Right? Foreigner talked about that. Head games. We all play them. Welcome to the head game. And now what you're here to do is learn the rules of engagement as a collective group and as an individual. I'm going to challenge you to use the word choose, choice, because you're not a victim of your own choices. And I want you to pay attention to what my mouth does when I say the word. In fact, say the word out loud right now. Say choose. Choose. What did your mouth just do? Choose. Choose. What did it do? Right? It was a big old pucker up of power, baby. Right? That's what choice is. We're not a victim of our own choices. You have chosen to be where you are today. You have chosen to be a member of this organization. And you chose to show up. That's powerful. That's an action. That's a step that makes a difference. So you can choose your responses, which gives you more power, choice. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you as you move through the day, just today. You know what? Play with it. In fact, some of you need to play with it just to prove me wrong, and I am cool with that. So let's do it. Every time you catch yourself saying, I have, look at my mouth, have. I'm going to exaggerate it for you. I have to work with these knuckleheads. I have to figure this out. I have to. How does my mouth end up when I finish the word have? How is it? It's what's the side doing? Am I smiling or is it more have? I'm frowning. I'm kind of exaggerating so y'all can see, right? Have, it goes down. It's a frown. Man, have is heavy. Have is heavy. Have's a burden. And guess what? Your survival is going to kick in. If you are living in the heavy have, I have to do this, I have to figure this out, I have to work with these knuckleheads, I have to, your survival is going to kick in and you are going to transfer the load. That is how you're going to start communicating with your team, with your family, with people in your life. Hey, you have to do this. And guess what? There's a part of their brain going, I ain't got to do nothing. I don't know who you're talking to. Some of them you're going to fire right up because they don't want the heaviness either. So how about we choose? You choose. And look, we have been in unprecedented times and they are not going away. They're not. All progress begins by telling the truth. And the truth is they are not going away. It will continue. And we may not have another global pandemic, panini, whatever we want to call it. That may not happen. Who knows? Who knows? Welcome to leadership. Some of you in this room may not have the title of leader. All right, you may not have your name on a plaque on the door. You may not have the title. So some of you might be resisting right now. Well, I'm not a leader, so this doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. Because guess what? Frank lives in your brain too. And Frank is always listening, except when he turns around looking for that American Express, right? And somebody takes your watch. So somebody better step up and take charge. If to no one else, y'all, we got to lead ourselves. And in order to do that, it's the pucker up of power. What do we choose? Leaders know that a big part of leading is also managing, right? Managing, directing, controlling ourselves and others, especially in this organization. How do we do that? How do we do that long term? So we're not like Mike Tyson. You know, everybody's got a plan until they get hit. I got hit. So I met a boy in the Marine Corps. He was also a Marine. He worked on helicopters. I worked on jets. That tells y'all just enough about our styles and personalities, doesn't it? Right? Opposites attract. Then they attack. Especially when we don't understand what's going on at the Frank level. We had to learn how to communicate, how to get out of the heavy halves and choose. When we got out, it was his turn it was after Desert Storm. This was way back in the 90s. When we got out, it was his turn to go to school first. He became an engineer. He has got a fascinating brain. He speaks a language of ones and zeros. He will talk about, he doesn't even use the word feelings. I don't know what a feeling is. I can't go buy a feeling. Feelings do not exist. Well, they are oozing out all over you, knucklehead. Even that statement right there is a feeling. We don't talk about feelings at work. We're professionals here. Yeah, what does that even mean? That's a feeling. All of that's feeling. If you are male or female, if you are young or old, regardless of your culture or background, humans. Information comes in through one of our five senses. You see something, you hear something. It goes to Frank, and he starts running it through that belief operating system. And guess what? The first part of a belief is how you feel about it. It's an emotion. What does that word emotion mean? What's it mean? That's a question. What does the word emotion mean? Just start popping it out. Popcorn. Emotion. What do you think it means? How you feel. You feel something. Yeah, it's something's happening, right? It's how you're feeling. Emotion is actually a compound word in English. It's a compound word, emotion. The E is the word energy. The N-E-R-G-Y drops off and it slams into the word motion. What does motion mean? Movement. You got to let it flow, let yourself go. So anybody, Beastie Boys? Come on, right? I'm an 80s girl. A feeling is simply energy in movement. And that we can manage. As long as we have the courage, which you're supposed to feel some kind of way about that. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is embracing fear and acting with its wisdom, because it's got something to teach you. Just most of the time, it goes a little high and to the right. Courage tends to go to fight. Like, I'm going to get the heck out of here. You either going to fight or flee, maybe you're going to freeze. Or maybe you're just going to go to people please. The thing is, we can learn to manage and direct, because coping is simply short term and it does not last. It's a Band-Aid. And we got to pull the splinter and heal the wound. So we need to have a map. What is a map? I'm going to give y'all a couple of tools. I do not have the time to dive deep into how to use these tools. The next couple of slides are some tools. I promise to get them to you. Especially as we head into the end of 2023, it is time for you to finish strong. So what the heck is a map? It's a management action plan. Hello, acronyms. They keep us safe. And when we have a map, we know the journey. We can take the steps. I'm going to encourage you To recognize here is where you are. Where you are is where you are. That is a place and a time and a reason to celebrate. What got us here is some good stuff because you're here. The question is, where are we going? And what do we need to learn? What do we need to surrender? What do we need to do differently in order to get us where we want to go? A great tool. It's a project management tool. PMPs use it all the time. You probably use it. You might not use these words with it. This just gives you a starting point. Stop. Stop. What do you need to stop doing? What is no longer working? What is no longer serving you? What is no longer getting the same results that you got before? Surrender does not mean to give up. It simply means stop. That's really what the word means. It means no longer do that. Give it back. Give it back. That's really what surrender means. When you look it up, dictionary.com, it means to give back. Not throw your hands up and wave a white flag, turn over, show your belly. It simply means stop. And when we stop, all right, what are we going to start? If we stop doing something, that frees up energy, that frees up emotion, that frees up power, the ability to act. So what do we need to start doing? And what are the good things that are working? Let's take a minute. Y'all, you cannot deepen in the fast lane. Sometimes you just got to move one lane over. Slow down just a little bit. Look, any type of projectile's got to be pulled back before it shoots forward. Think of a slingshot. In order for that to go forward, we got to pull it back and aim. So, what do we need to continue doing that is working, and what can we change? That's just the delta. That's just the delta. And life is change. You a different person today than you were yesterday. At least cellularly you are. And the body cannot lie. You fresh and new. Here's another tool. This is more of a 12-month tool. Just gives you something to aim at. When we gather in Philly next year, what are we going to be celebrating that you have achieved? Give yourself permission to engage. In fact, you are cleared hot, y'all. That's the terminology. When we would arm up an F-18 and they were heading out on a mission, it was my role to tell the pilot, "Sir, you are cleared hot." That means we have mapped it out. We know the mission. We know the targets. We know where the threats are, at least from what we can see, and you are cleared hot. You have permission to engage. You are here. You have permission to engage. You are cleared hot. So, where do you want to be 12 months from now? What are we going to be celebrating? In 6 months, take the time now when the bullets aren't coming down range. When you are not, when the punches aren't coming, like Mike Tyson said. What are the milestones I need to see at 6 months to know that I am on path, that I am taking the right steps? And then break it down into 90-day projects. What are the 90-day projects I need to do and I need to delegate so that I can replicate myself, so that we can come together in solidarity? And then, wouldn't it be cool if this group had an accountability group where we actually posted up to hold each other and support each other with respect and dignity? Identify your wows. What the heck's a wow? It's another acronym, just helps your brain. Within 1 week. How are you going to wow yourself within 1 week? What are the steps you're going to take this week to move that 90-day project forward, to make sure that you're hitting that 6-month target? So that 12 months from now, we are celebrating. This is a tool. Because the reality is, where are you now, personally and professionally? Because I tell you what, you do not have 2 lives. And most of us try to play the games with ourselves that we do. And we got a work-life balance. It don't work that way. In fact, when I say the word balance to you, most of you see a scale in your mind. Maybe a teeter-totter. But you see, one thing over here and one thing over here, and we call one work and we call one home. And I tell you what, you got at least 50 things going on at home. That's way underestimation. And you got at least 50 things working over here professionally, and that is also a way underestimation. What am I trying to say? I don't know. Y'all get it. Underestimation. Anybody ever seen a 100-arm scale? that doesn't exist. It's a work-life balance. That's a crock. The body cannot lie. As soon as you say, I am seeking work-life balance, your body goes, stop. And you're already set up to miss that mark. Notice I didn't use the word fail, because failure is an illusion. That's some head trash too. And if you're going to use that word, at least use it properly. It's an engineering term, right? It talks about where the stress in a material or a resource is, and what do we need to do to shore it up so that it doesn't break. FAIL is an acronym in my world. First attempt in learning. You learn something. Look, if you miss a target, okay. At minimum, you learn what not to do again, and that is a gift. Don't do that because that stunk. That didn't work. Let's try something else. Let's back up and regroup. Right? What's stopping you? What are the roadblocks in the way, and where do you want to be? What are the results you're aiming for? These are tools. I encourage you to use them so that you can finish 2023 strong, and we are celebrating you in Philly next year. Because most of us think we got the head trash around success. What is success? Oh, you just work hard, you do right. And outsiders say, oh, look at what, that was overnight success. I mean, man. And the truth is, that's what it looks like. It's crooked. Just got to keep taking the steps. Keep taking the steps. We learned this morning what you really do out there. You make a difference. You might have gotten up this morning thinking, sell cylinders. I'm a bearings broker. Trying to come up with an alliteration. I'm not here saving the world. I'm going to challenge you. Perspective is power. I want you to take another look. We keep our supply chains running. You give people the right to repair their own, to have financial flexibility and freedom. The things you use in your everyday world that you just look up as a container becomes a home for those that lost theirs in a disaster. It's all about perspective. Take another look at who you are and what you do. And Emerson reminded us of this. He said to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to leave the world a bit better, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. That, warrior, is to be successful. And you may have come in here this morning and think, well, I'm not a leader, I'm not a warrior, I don't have the heart of a warrior. I submit to you that you do. Each one of you here is a leader, and you are a warrior. You do have the heart of one. And it has truly been my honor and privilege to spend this time with you today. I want to remind you to act, because action changes things. Bet you didn't know that was an acronym either. Action changes things. So what's one action you're going to take here to move yourself forward? Some of us get stuck in the why. If I ever do a TED Talk, I think the title's going to be Stop Asking Why, because why is combat. All right, why is combat? Most of us get stuck in it. Why me? Why I got to be the one to deal with this? Why they act like that? Why? What's your why? Why are you here? All right, that's what the big motivational speakers are. Well, what is your why? You got to know your why. Good friend of mine, Simon Sinek. Y'all might have know him. He actually wrote a book, The 5 Whys. Why? I don't know. But I can't answer the what's. What am I looking for? Because guess what? Humans, males, females, youngs, olds, cultures, backgrounds, we all listen to the same radio station up here globally. The call letters. You want to know the call letters? WIIFM. Any guesses on what that stands for? WIIFM. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? So ask yourself, what's in this association for you? How can we support you as we all come together? Because I am, because we are. You are because we are. What can we do to support and grow and help you fully recognize and realize who you are and the gifts that you uniquely bring, not only to this association, to your organization, to your family, and ultimately the world? We're not out here to change the world. Most of us get overwhelmed with that. I'm asking you simply, start here. Because when things change here, things change here. And ultimately, that changes the world. Thank you so much for your time and attention today.